Welcome to Unical Pre-Degree Digital Lecture Series. I am Professor Enonita of the Department of English and Literary Studies, and I'll be taking you on comprehension. What is comprehension? I'm sure you remember that you have always had comprehension exercises right from when you were in primary school. But this time, we need to pitch it a little higher. And so, I'll be going through comprehension in this module. You will see that we shall approach it by looking at comprehension, what it means, the various types. We shall also look at reading skills. And then finally, I'll give you enough exercises to make sure that you don't fall asleep when you should be working. Comprehension is another term for understanding. How well do you understand the things you read? Some of you read and you get 100%, isn't it? Others read and they get 10%. Well, comprehension, we are looking at different things. The content, the factual content of the passage. The meaning that is inferred when you read. How well do you understand the words that are used? Can you think of appropriate synonyms or antonyms for some words or phrases or even sentences? Can you identify a register of vocabulary peculiar to different subjects, professions, and disciplines? Remember, you may find the same word meaning something slightly different in the different disciplines. Can you interpret figurative expressions? What about the grammatical function of words or groups of words, wherever they occur? All of these and more interest us when we talk of comprehension. And comprehension in an academic environment includes listening to lectures. You need to understand what those lecturers say. Don't get caught up with how the person dresses or the person's personal habits. We are interested in, can I understand this lecture well enough for me to be able to pass when it is time to have exams? What about tutorials, seminars, presentation at conferences? All of these are relevant within an academic environment. So comprehension involves the ability to process text, understand its meaning, and integrate it with what we know already. But in this module, we shall concentrate on comprehension as reading comprehension. And the outline is comprehension types, reading skills, and exercises on reading comprehension. Basically, there are 3 levels of comprehension. The first is what we refer to as reading for literal meaning. This is reading the line. It simply means you focus on the content alone, content knowledge. But we know that for us to understand even what a passage means, we have to remember that we need to understand English. English is the language of education, and so we need to be able to know the word classes, the phrases, to understand tense. That is an area that many of us have problems with. Should I say, I went to the market yesterday, or I gone to the market yesterday? Definitely not the second one, right? So we need to understand our tenses. What of sentence types? Yes, you still remember them. I'm sure you've had enough lectures on those ones too. But let's look at one sentence where we're going to use one word to represent different classes or parts of speech. And the word is round. As I round the building, I think about the fact that our round world spins round on its axis, at the same time making a circle round the sun that results in the round of the seasons. How many times have we used round? 5 times. The first time, it functions as a verb and it expresses an action, or it is a doing word. In the second one, we have what? Yeah, it's an adjective. It modifies the noun world. And the third time we encounter round, it becomes an adverb. It modifies the verb spins. Then we find round as a preposition because it shows the relationship between circle and sun. Finally, we find round as a noun. And what is a noun? It's a naming word, and so it names the world. I'm sure you already know that there are supposed to be 8 classes or parts of speech in English. In that sentence where we have encountered round 5 times, we have managed to also cover 5 parts of speech. The others are conjunctions, and, but, interjections, remember? And pronouns. Did you say him? John brought his book. She is in the office. It's also important that you know the use of punctuations, the full stop, comma, question mark, colon, semicolon, apostrophe, hyphen, dash, brackets, ellipses. I suspect that there are some that I have not listed. You go and find out. Otherwise, are we babies? Do we need to be spoon-fed? I don't think so. I trust you. I know you can do it. Now, comprehension types. We are still looking at the things that are very useful when we are talking comprehension. One thing is paragraphing. We need to know where a paragraph starts and where it ends. We need to be able to identify the topic sentence in a paragraph. Of course, when we are looking at the entire book, like your life changer, you will be looking at a thesis statement or thesis sentence, which actually is the kernel of the entire story. I know you must have obtained a credit pass in English at WAEC or NECO for you to be on this program. But this doesn't mean that you know the meaning of every single word that you encounter. We therefore suggest that you avail yourself of a dictionary, and not the big bulky things that your parents had to carry around. Utilize your smartphone for that. After all, you are the digital age children, right? I'm sure you do all kinds of things with your handset. So please, add to the list, my dictionary. Usually, we assume you have mastered the content when you can answer questions that directly seek information on who, where, when, and why of the passage. Let's read the following passage called From the Life Changer. And all of them, my daughters, called me mommy. They did not call me mama, a title every child in my community used for their mother. They couldn't call me Umi, which was my name at home, and which incidentally also meant mommy. It actually translated to my mother in Arabic because I was named after my paternal grandmother. So I was Umi to everybody else and mommy to my children and their friends. Except Omar, who insisted on calling me mom. I was never particular about how I was addressed anyway. What I always insisted was respect for each other and for one another. Let's look at these comprehension questions. What title do the children in the community use for their mothers? Yeah, you know. Mama or mama. What did everyone else call the narrator? Who called her mom? Is Umi a Hausa word? Who is not particular about how she was addressed? Where was she called Umi? The answers to these questions are obvious. They are one-word answers and easy to remember. Do you remember the passages you read or essays you wrote in primary school, for instance, my best friend? Usually we expect to find the friend's name, age, physical attributes. Oh yes, she's my best friend because she's tall, isn't it? And she's my best friend because she likes me. When we read for literal meaning, we obtain information on the main idea, the characters in the passage, what they did, or the facts as stated in the passage, and even the sequence of events in the text. But the same essay or passage could be used to elicit more information and meaning at another level. That takes us to the second level, and that is inferential meaning. So we read for inferential meaning, and this time the content does not explicitly state what we may term the deeper meaning. This is sometimes referred to as intensive reading. We not only want to know what the writer says, but how it is accomplished. So we look at the style of presentation, the register, figurative use of language, all those things, metaphor that you had learned, simile. It also involves thinking about the text, being more involved. Let's go back to that passage that we just finished reading, and let's see how we can use a set of questions to help us arrive at inferential meaning. What is the relationship between the narrator and the persons she referred to as they in line 1 of the passage? Were other mothers particular about how they were addressed? Why could Omar not call the narrator Umi, his mother a universal title? Let's think. What's the relationship? Yeah, you got it. She's their mother. And were other mothers particular? Obviously they were. So why couldn't Omar call the narrator Umi? Do you call your mother by her name? Oh, so he couldn't dare. From the questions, it's obvious that inferences provide information on generalizations, are used to establish cause and effects relationships, like the relationship between Omar and his mother, provide avenue for future predictions, and identify unstated main ideas. So that was what? That was inferential meaning, intensive reading. We move now to the third one. The third level is what will provide evaluative meaning. This is reading beyond the lines or extensive reading. It takes us outside the passage, makes us relate what we read to our knowledge of the world. It could also be termed critical reading. We could ask, for instance, how do different cultures address mothers? What can we say we have learned about the personal philosophy of Umi? We could even be asked to write an essay on different ways of addressing mothers. Now let's look at the life changer. Because it's the prescribed novel for this course. So let's just toss some few questions. What's the name of the author? Where was it published? How many characters are mentioned in the novel? How many chapters are in the novel? And who is the main character? Yes, get the book and read it. Some of these questions are the kind of things you encounter in your various exams. Another area that we need to attend to is what we call difficulty levels. Reading difficulty. In a passage, you could read and find that you have understood everything, every word. Then we say, oh, you have read at independent level. But sometimes, when you don't understand everything, maybe you understand about 95% of what you have read. We say it is instructional level. But if you understand just about 80-85%, we say you are reading at a frustration level. Yes, independent level, if you are in primary school, for example, and you find that the child in primary 2 has been able to understand every word that she encounters in her maybe English textbook, you say she's reading at independent level, but it also tells you something. That child will probably no longer find the classroom interesting. That child will complain of boredom. So a good teacher will do what? Will find something slightly pitched beyond the child. Why? To sustain interest. And that is why we talk of instructional level. So instructional level allows us to acquire more with a little effort, mostly from an intrinsic motivation that comes from within us. But frustration level can really frustrate and make the child not read anymore. Let's look at the following 3 passages. Which one do you believe or you think is most difficult? Why? The first one, use of fingerprinting in crime detection, is actually from your biology textbook, the textbook you used in SS3. Then the second one is looking at translation. I don't know how well you understand it. The third one, for those of us you are all pre-degree, you are all meant to be science students. Here you are looking at atom, molecule, chemical bond, which is what? Chemistry, isn't it? Which of these 3 do you think is most difficult? Why? Maybe all of them are actually, you find you can access them at what? Independent level. I think I should clap for you. No, you could clap for yourself. At the university level, you are expected to read at independent level. This means that you are able to apply all your oral reading accuracy, comprehension, decoding, prosody at a determined level of accuracy rate, and comprehend independently without any teacher or visible support. We are saying you don't need to have your dictionary just beside you. As you read every sentence, you say, what is the meaning of this one? That won't do. But the fact is, the faster you read, the higher your comprehension rate. And if you look at the English language, as is true of all languages, there are always built-in processes that help us comprehend better. Some of these are the repeated grammatical structures, presence of synonyms, lexical sets, and collocations. Some of these will be tested in the section on reading exercises. Now, reading skills. Remember we said that there are 3 things that this model will address. The first one was comprehension or comprehension types. The second one is reading skills. And the third one will be the exercises that we will present to you. Now, what do we mean by reading skills? We are referring to those strategies that make for effective and efficient reading. You are said to be an efficient reader if you gain maximum understanding when you read, you can answer your comprehension questions correctly, and you can carry out exercises based on the passage without difficulty. You know when to vary your reading speed. I mean, if I'm reading a newspaper article, maybe it is on fashion. I'm not going to write a paper on fashion. I'm not going to write an exam. So I can afford to just read it, take my time, leisurely, isn't it? But what if I'm reading something on science? Maybe physics, because I'm a science student. I know that I may need to attend to it much more. So yes, leisure reading, I could read very fast, or I could just say, I don't need to read it, I drop it. But when it is a textbook, I must attend to the words, I must attend to the figures, and I must attend to the symbols. Sometimes I may even need to memorize some formula, introduce some mnemonics and abbreviations to aid my mastery of the text. Yes, titration. How do I go about it? What comes first? In reading, we also talk about scanning. We scan for specific information, especially when we need to answer specific content questions. Remember that passage from The Life Changer? How many children has Umi? That is a specific question. But sometimes we also are involved in skimming. And this is one that enables us to glance through a document quickly to establish if we would eventually need to have a close reading. For this, we check the table of contents. I'm looking for, I want to be sure, is there a section in that novel where it talks about how Umi went to school? I may need to find it from the table of contents. Sometimes from the glossary, isn't it? We will look at all the terms that have been used. Sometimes we will find of all the books that have been referred to, the topics that are important. But because comprehension involves vocabulary and even other aspects of grammar, more tasks shall be included in the next section to test our mastery of the language. And that is our exercises on reading comprehension. The first exercise is actually a passage that I have taken from a past JAM question paper. Because you'll be reading many of such passages with a few questions based on each one. In this case, just 5 questions. One of the interesting things to me about spaceship is that it is a mechanical vehicle, just as any automobile. If you own a car, you realize that you must put oil and gas into it, and you must put water in the radiator and take care of the car as a whole. You begin to develop quite a little thermodynamic sense. You know that you are either going to have to keep the machine in a good order, or it is going to be in trouble and fail to function. We have not been seen as spaceship Earth as an internally designed machine which, to be persistently successful, must be comprehended and serviced in total. Now, there is the outstanding important fact regarding spaceship Earth. And this is that no instruction book came with it. I think it is very significant that there is no instruction book for successfully operating our ship in view of the infinite attention to all other details displayed by our ship. It must be taken as deliberate and purposeful that an instruction book was omitted. Lack of instruction has forced us to find out that there are 2 kinds of mangoes: unripe mangoes that will kill us, and ripe mangoes which will nourish us. And we have to find out ways of telling which was which mangoes before we ate it, or otherwise we would die. So we were forced, because of this, to devise scientific experimental procedures and to interpret effectively the significance of the experimental findings. Thus, because the instruction book was missing, we are learning how we can safely survive on the planet. Quite clearly, all living beings are utterly helpless at the moment of birth. The human child stays helpless longer than the young of any species. Apparently, it is part of invention that man is meant to be utterly helpless through certain anthropological phases. When he begins to be able to get on a little better, is meant to discover some of the physical principles inherent in the universe, as well as the many recourses around him, which will further multiply his knowledge. Designed into the spaceship Earth's total wealth was a big safety factor. This allowed man to be very ignorant for a long time until he had amassed enough progressively the system of generalized principles governing increase of energy. The design omission of the instruction book forced man to discover retrospectively just what his most important capabilities are. He learned to generalize fundamental principles of universe. I said we'll have a few questions. There are just 5 questions, really. The first one is, how many paragraphs are in the passage? 4, 15, 9, 7. According to the writer, the exciting thing about Spaceship Earth is that it has no instruction manual, it's not difficult to maintain, it's peculiar to automobiles, it's relatively easy to operate. The absence of instruction manual in Spaceship Earth has made the operation of the spaceship difficult. It has forced man to devise other means of traveling in spacecraft. It has challenged man's inquisitiveness. It has made man helpless. From the passage, it can be deduced that man learns by experiment and education, learns by chance and accidentally, is capable of solving all his problems. By his nature, he is in constant search of knowledge. The writer's mood in the passage is that of being non-committal, pessimism, optimism, or frustration. Just those 5 questions and see how lengthy the passage was. But you need to read every single passage that you will encounter in your exam. In each of the options 6 to 10, you are asked to select the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. It was good to stay a middle course in whatever one does. Does that mean it is always good to get midway in whatever one does? It's always good to act with moderation. It's always good to move away from the forefront. It's always good to work very hard. Though Mr. Hero is a new chairman, he views other members with jaundiced eyes. Would that mean he takes a rather forceful position on dealing with his members? He takes an unfavorable position on dealing with his members? He takes a sickly view of his members? Uche is full of himself. Does that mean he's conceited, he's complete, he's a rich man, he's careful? We also have incorporated other aspects of grammar. In this next one, we are actually looking at vocabulary. We are asking that you choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or phrase in italics. The trader was amused by the cutthroat rush for the books. Amused. Would amuse mean worrisome, strange, lackluster, mad? The teacher said that Ali's essay was full of many redundant details. Redundant, unexplained, strange, necessary, useful. Ndeli gave a flawless speech at the party. Flawless, wonderful, careless, interesting, imperfect. We were enthusiastic as we awaited the result of the election. Enthusiastic, bemused, agitated, elated, nervous. The uniform makes the guards look absurd. Dirty, absurd is our focus here. dirty, smart, sensible, ridiculous. In the next set, we are looking at phrasal verbs. Could we replace them with one single verb? So the project was abandoned because the money ran out. Increased, finished, decreased, told. The counselor told Ada that she didn't have to put up with her friend's disloyalty. Describe, announce, adopt, tolerate. Untui's request was turned down, accepted, applauded, rejected, disappointing, and worn out after the long trek. Worn out, thirsty, exhausted, hungry, energized. Kende thought I was taken in by his sob story. Taken in, angered, fooled, excited, delighted. In 21 to 25, you have to choose the option that best completes the gap. They are all straightforward, and I'm sure you can cope. The principal said that he was pleased on, off, with, about my effort. The paper is made on, off, from wood pulp. Now, we have been talking extensively about comprehension. We have said that comprehension, in this module, we have looked at three major aspects: comprehension types, reading skills and reading difficulty, and finally, we have looked at some exercises, the type you are likely to find in any exam or your use of English paper. So we see that comprehension is an important aspect of the use of English paper. Of course, we know that if we fail that paper, we are most unlikely to get admission. So you need to practice, you need to read wide. But I've also included here for you the website where you can log into to access free JAM Pass questions. They are available and the answers are also there. Make sure you read all the prescribed texts and novels for your exam. The more you read, the more you increase your reading speed and your efficiency. Remember that your aim is to read at independent level. It is attainable, and I assure you that it will enhance your academic performance as an undergraduate. So,